Hey, it's Steve. I know that was scary. I got close to the screen. Lake Hartwell just finished. Good tournament. A lot of fish caught. A lot of stuff you could have picked up if you watched it. And if you were paying attention. Let's go with number 1. Randy Howell. Randy's a pretty well-known guy for throwing a Yamamoto Senko. What can I say? It works. But the normal guy that I know, especially around here, is throwing that Senko on 8 or 10 pound line. A lot of times just straight up fluorocarbon. What was he doing? Well, he was fishing around cover some. And he did 2 things that made a big difference. Number 1, he was fishing a 14 pound leader. That's right, it gave him more abrasion resistance. Now think to yourself, how many guys have more than one Senko rod on the deck, or even would have taken the time to switch to something heavier to throw a Senko in an area like that? Most would just throw it in an 8 pound line and hope everything comes out okay. The other thing, his hook. It was about a 2.0 Nico rig hook. That's right. Weedless Nico rig hook, because if you look, and the camera showed it to you real good, you could see him straightening out the little weed guards on it. And you could also see how frayed up the line was. So what else could we take away from the tournament? Well, definitely that depending on where you are on the lake, not the same things are going on. Because if you were way up north in the creeks, the spawn was a lot further along. If you were down toward mid-lake in the creeks and stuff like that, there were still a lot of fish coming back to the shoreline to get on beds. So what does that tell you? Not all the lake is going to fish the same thing, and where you're at on a lake, you should not expect it to be just like everywhere else, because a lot of times it's not. What else could we pick up? Well, it was a herring lake, so that meant there were a lot of guys fishing basically schools of bait fish, and schools of bait fish around brush piles and stuff like that. Now, we've fished brush piles for years. I mean, since the 70s. We found them on a depth finder. We know where to line up and stuff. Now there's better technology to know exactly where they are. They were fishing that way. Again, at a time of the year when most people say, what are you doing out there in the middle? You need to go to the bank. And the other thing is, even though these guys were fishing in the basin of the lake, they weren't necessarily fishing for fish that were that deep. Another takeaway. Then we have the way some of them were catching fish. Now, I don't know whether it was a mooch minnow or a Crush City minnow or a hog farmer type of minnow, whatever it was, okay? That wasn't really important. The way that it was rigged on the core tackle head and the way they were fishing it, kind of speed reeling it, well, that's different. And guess what? If you knew where a brush pile was to fish in open water, that's a technique you could use with or without front-facing sonar. Hey, I'm Steve, and these are just a few of the things that I took away from the tournament over the weekend.